So we'll continue our discussion regarding the subsystem design process. So today we will discuss some of the topics regarding illustration of the design process. So particularly in this section, we will discuss computational elements that are used in the subsystem design process. So as we know, the most important computational element is the ALU part, arithmetic and logic unit, and in that the adder is the most important computational. So today we will see what are the main components and how design is going to proceed with that. So before starting exactly with the design here, first a term called regularity is defined. So this is considered as one of the most important parameter, a qualitative parameter in the subsystem design process. So generally the regularity is defined as the ratio of total number of transistors on the chip. Okay, it is a total number of transistors on the chip divided by number of transistor circuits that must be designed in detail. Okay, so therefore this particular parameter it defines or its value. Okay, it's a number. It is going to define about the regularity of the structures. See here, it is a ratio of what total number of transistors on the chip. Okay, to number of transistor circuits that must be designed in detail. Okay, now assume that we want a very high value of regularity. Okay, it is required also. Okay, so always it is desirable that regularity value should be, it is given here, as high as possible. Why its value is as high as possible? In order to minimize the design effort required for any system. So it is desirable that this factor should be high in order to minimize the design effort required for any system. Now, what this ratio exactly means is this value can be very high if and only if, okay. So if we have very least number of transistor circuits which are designed in detail, okay, so that is whatever the circuitries are there, if they have a common design, then this number denominator becomes 1. Okay, if assume that some 10 transistors they require 10 different designs, then regularity value will be total number of transistors divided by 10. In that case the regularity value comes down. So in order to have a high regularity value, as far as possible all the transistor circuits that are involved they should have a common design. Okay, so, through an example it can be better understood that the denominator of the above expression will be greatly reduced, okay, if the whole chip can be fabricated from few standard cells. Okay, so what is the means of getting a high value? If the denominator value is reduced. When the denominator value can be reduced, if the whole chip can be fabricated from a very few standard cells. Okay, you don't need a different designs. So as you go on giving the different designs for different transistor circuits, then denominator increases. Like 10 number of transistors have different designs, 20 number of transistors have different design. Okay, so all transistors if they can be fabricated by one standard design, then the denominator value comes to be equal to 1. Then when it is equal to 1, then regularity will automatically increase. For example, a very good example is a 4x4 barrel shifter. Okay, in a 4x4 barrel shifter, there were 16 transistors were there. If you remember the barrel shifter uh, circuit diagram, there were 16 identical transistors. Okay, so therefore in the numerator total number of transistors on the chip you can substitute as 16 because there were 4 cross 4 line. So 4 cross 4 line they all have 16 transistors. Okay, that divided by number of transistor circuits that must be designed in detail, it is only 1 because one standard design is sufficient because all transistors were identical in that 4x4 barrel shifter. So therefore, one standard design is sufficient. So as this value is 1, then regularity is 16. For example, assume that if two transistors are there which require two different designs, then this regularity would have been dropped to 8. Okay, so therefore, as far as possible, so all the transistors, they should have a standard design so that they will make the regularity value very high. Similarly, if you design for 8x8 barrel shifter, okay, so we know that 8x8 barrel shifter, again there will not be any change because it's an adaptable to any number of inputs and the outputs. So therefore totally there will be 8 into 8, 64 transistors on the chip. So total number of transistors will be 64. Even their number is 64, the number of transistor circuits that must be designed in detail is only 1. If we design one transistor that is sufficient, it is applicable to all 64. So therefore, there the regulator factor is 64 by 1 and regularity value will be 60. Okay. So this is what one of the qualitative parameter used in the subsystem design. Next, coming to this design of ALU subsystem. Okay, so the heart of ALU system is obviously a 4-bit adder circuit only. And once the design of 4-bit adder is ready, later it can be adapted to make it as a subtractor or a multiplier. Okay, so therefore first of all, the very basic thing that is required to design is an adder circuit only. So later it can be modified. Okay. So therefore, as it's a 4-bit adder, obviously its function is to take two numbers which are 4 bits each. Okay, so it will perform addition of two 4-bit numbers. Okay. So therefore, all 4-bit quantities are presented in parallel. Okay, because these two data, 2 bits or two numbers whose width is 4 bits, they have to be first given to the ALU. Okay, so therefore we need parallel lines in a parallel form. Okay, so the data has to be presented to the ALU. Okay, so therefore 4-bit quantities are presented in parallel form and the shifter is designed to accept and shift, okay, that 4-bit parallel sum from the ALU also. Okay, it is not only you provide 4-bit data, okay, at the same time what a shifter is also required which can accept the sum will be in a 4-bit form. Okay, sum is in a 4-bit form, so it has to accept the sum and it has to further shift it. So therefore this is the work done in the adder circuitry. So in order to design such a system, then what are the further considerations and what are the further specifications? So therefore for such a ALU subsystem design, the specifications are, it is specified that the sum is to be stored in parallel at the output of the adder. Okay, so when we present the inputs on the parallel lines, on the two parallel lines, what is the first requirement, first specification is that the sum is to be stored in the parallel at the output of the adder, and also from the output of the adder the sum will be fed through the shifter and back to the register array. Okay, this is our specification, how the data should be presented, how after the addition operation, how the sum has to be taken out and how it has to be further shifted. This we will all specify beforehand. Okay, so according to that, our specification is the sum should be available at the output of the adder and it should be stored in parallel at the output of the adder, and from the output of the adder the sum has to be fed through the shifter back to the register array, and according to that the design should go. Okay, thus so in order to meet all these requirements, so thus what is our design criteria is a single 4-bit data bus. A single 4-bit data bus is needed from the adder to the shifter. So now these are all the requirements. Now in order to make all these things happen, what are the requirements? Sir? A single 4-bit data bus is needed from the adder to the shifter. Okay. Then another 4-bit bus is also required from the shifted output back to the register array, because it is all 4 bits only. So therefore another 4 bit bus is required from the shifted output back to the register array. Then last one is the two 4-bit parallel numbers, okay, to be added. The two 4-bit numbers which are to be added are presented in parallel form on two 4-bit buses. Okay, so in the specification we have to give how the data is presented to the ALU, and after the addition where it has to be shifted. Okay, so how it has to be shifted. So all this summarized in these steps. Okay, so we need a single 4-bit data bus from adder to the shifter, and then another 4-bit bus is required from the shifted output back to the register array, and then two 4-bit parallel numbers are to be added. So therefore they have to be presented in parallel on two 4-bit buses. Then this is the overall data path, 4-bit data path of the processor. So it has an IO port, 4-bit registers, then 4-bit ALU block, then 4-bit end around shifter. Okay, so now with the help of these blocks, with control as well as with the clock, the previous process can be performed. So this is known as 4-bit data path for the processor. Okay, so the directional lines, they will indicate the flow of the data as well as the control. And here with the ALU we can see that A and B are the two numbers which are fed parallelly, and it has a control as well as clock signal is also there, and then it has got what, sum and carry, sum and carry, and as it has to perform n-bit addition, okay, so previous carry should also be considered, previous carry should also be considered, which is named as carry in. Okay, by considering the previous carry bit, now the present addition will be carried out, and for the present addition we have a sum output as well as one more carry output. It can be 0 or 1. Okay, one more carry output. So therefore along with the two inputs, carry in is also another input, and along with the sum output, carry out is also another output, and all these two are at the output of the adder, and they are further given to 4-bit end around shifter. Okay, so that the sum can be again stored back in the register, so now obviously the end around shifter has some shift controls. Okay, so this is nothing but the shifter block is nothing but it can be a 4x4 crossbar or the barrel shifter. Now this is in the block diagram. Then coming to exactly this ALU part. Now this is our discussion block, 4-bit ALU. Okay, so design of a 4-bit adder. Now here this particular picture shows, so when two numbers A and B are added, so how the sum and carry are generated and how this carry is further propagated. Okay, so therefore column 0, you can consider this as a column 0, column 1, column 2. So this is the kth column. So first this column is added 1 0 1, sum is 1, carry is 0. Okay, then in the next column 2 bits are added, 1 1 is the sum, 0, then carry is further given to next column. In the next column again the 2 bits along with the previous carry, they are added and the process continues. So finally there is a carry out from the last bits addition. So this you might have done in the 2-bit binary number addition and all. Okay, so this shows a general picture how the addition process by considering carry in, that is the previous carry, is done. Therefore now if we consider AK and BK are the bits, A and B are of course the two inputs to the adder. K indicates which bit, kth bit it is. Okay, first if it is a 4-bit word, K can be 0 1 2 3, 4 bits. Okay. Similarly the previous carry is indicated as CK minus 1. K is a present bit, k minus 1 is a previous bit. So therefore, in the input section, in the adder, input section has present A and B bits along with the previous carry bit also. Okay, this also should be taken into addition. Okay, its value may be 0 or 1, but still it is also presented as one of the inputs. Then coming to the output section, outputs are two. One is sum, other one is a new carry. Okay, so therefore sum is Sk and the new carry is Ck. Sum is Sk and the new carry is Ck. So therefore, after preparing these columns, we will go on giving the various conditions. Whenever their AK, BK are 0, 0, previous carry is 0. So sum is 0, new carry value is also 0. Okay, maybe the digital circuits and all, you might have filled up the tables. Then again, when BK, AK and BK bits are 0, 1, 0, 1 with the previous carry 0. So see here, first 4 conditions are previous carry 0, next 4 conditions are with the previous carry 1. Okay, because sum is going to change as well as new carry is also going to change. So we have listed all the situations. So 0, 0, the previous carry with previous carries are 0, sum and new carry values you can list. So 0, 0, sum is 0, carry is also 0, 0, 1, okay, the sum is 1, carry is 0. So this is known how to write this sum and the carry terms. So similarly, we complete this, but when we come to this part, that is last 4, here even though A, B are 0, 0, see here, A and B are 0, but carry is there. Ck minus 1 bit is there. Ck minus 1 bit is there and it will be added. So sum becomes 1, but it doesn't generate any carry term, carry bit. So therefore new carry bit will be 0. So like this we complete the table. So this is the truth table for the binary adder. Now with this we are going to write the adder equations. So the adder equations in the standard form. It is not a carry look ahead adder. It's the adder in the standard form. So we are representing one adder element because this is the one which is going to be repeated. Okay, so one adder element, it should have 3 inputs: AK, BK, CK minus 1, and 2 outputs are sum and the carry out. Sum is represented as SK and carry out for that bit is CK. Okay, and for such a adder element, for one adder element, its defining equations are. So first we are writing the half sum value. Half sum. Okay, so it is HK equal to, this is written by referring to the previous truth table, previous binary adder truth table. Okay, so HK is AK bar or BK or AK BK bar by without considering any carry terms. Okay, so either HK is AK bar or AK bar and BK or AK and BK bar. So this you can see from the system wherever one is there. Then using that you can write the whole adder equation. Sum equal to, so what you have to do, sum Sk is equal to so wherever sum is 1, 1, 2, 3 and 4 terms you are getting. So how to write that? AK bar into BK into so wherever sum is 1, so you can use those 1 terms to write the equation. AK bar BK CK minus 1 bar or AK into BK bar CK minus 1 bar, 2 terms. Then third term is plus AK bar to BK bar into CK minus 1 plus AK BK into CK minus 1. So in that you can take common terms. Okay. So you will see that AK bar into BK plus AK BK bar will act like a common term for CK minus 1 whole bar. Okay. Similarly, other equation will be its complementary HK bar into CK minus 1. Now these equations you can complete by referring to the previous truth table. Also this carry equation also. So whenever the CK you have to write, refer to that CK column, carry column, and we get the 3 adder equations in the standard form. Okay. So this is defined for what? Single adder element it is. So now such elements will be replicated. That is, whenever we need the parallel addition of the 4 bits, then they have to be repeated. Now this particular diagram, it shows the implementation, how that the previous adder is implemented. It is based on multiplexing operation. So that's why it is called multiplexer based adder logic with stored and buffered sum, or it is a multiplexer based adder logic. Now here, in order to realize this, now certain conditions are used here. Now from the previous what truth table, okay, so there is one observation that whenever if AK equal to BK, if AK equal to BK, then in the truth table, I am talking about the truth table, SK is equal to CK minus 1. See, going back to the truth table, whenever AK is equal to BK, what is that condition say? CK minus 1 is same as SK, and this is true everywhere. So whenever AK is equal to BK, CK minus 1, that is previous carry, is equal to present sum. So that is, if AK is equal to BK, CK minus 1 is equal to SK. Now this observation is used in order to implement that. So similarly, for the carry term also, for the this is for the sum term. Okay, and once we write this, SK is equal to CK minus 1, else means if AK is not equal to BK, SK will be equal to CK minus 1 bar. So this is true from the last table also. Whenever AK is not equal to BK, okay, CK minus 1 bar, okay, will be equal to CK. So now these two conditions, SK is equal to CK minus 1 bar. So SK is the corresponding sum term. When AK and BK bits are not same, then SK will be equal to complementary of what? CK minus 1 bar. That is what is the statement. And this is true. This is written by referring to the previous truth table. This is one condition for the sum case. Similarly, in case of carry, whenever AK is equal to BK, it is observed that whatever carry bit is there for that particular bit, CK equal to AK, that is equal to BK star, BK. Okay. Else CK equal to CK minus 1. This you can just check from the, you should have this table with you to do this. Okay. So what are the adder requirements? They are called adder requirements. The first requirement is for the sum. What it says, whenever AK is equal to BK, then SK is equal to CK minus 1. This is true. Else means if AK is not equal to BK, check the second row. AK is not equal to BK, SK is CK minus 1 whole bar, complementary of the previous carry. That is one condition. Similarly, for the carry term, what are the conditions is, If AK is equal to BK, then this CK is equal to AK, that is equal to BK. Okay. Else means when AK is not equal to this BK term, this CK will be equal to CK will be equal to CK minus 1 term. Okay. So now using this relation, this implementation is done. Okay. So here this diagram is a stick diagram. These two parallel lines. So they represent the end diffusions. Okay, the two parallel lines here, they represent end diffusion, and the shaded line, they represent the polysilicon. So wherever the polysilicon has crossed the end diffusion, a transistor is formed. So therefore here, this is one transistor, second transistor, this is third transistor, 4, 5, 6. So wherever on end diffusion you have the polysilicon crossing, so these are all our transistors. This is a transistor, this is a transistor form, these two are transistors. Okay, so these are all the transistors. It's a NMOS enhancement, NMOS transistor. Then AK bar, BK bar are the signals provided for the addition. Also, it has CK minus 1, and as we need CK minus 1 bar also, okay, so an inverter is used. Similarly here, one more inverter is used, SK bar, which will make this as SK. This is what is the design. Now, we will just check with this. Whenever you have, according to the truth table, AK and BK. For example, this AK bar and BK, that is both are 0 0. Assume that both are 0 0. That is, I am considering the first two bits as 0 0. AK bar is 0, BK bar is 0. So when these two are 0 0, the sum value is 0. That is, SK line should be 0. So therefore, just go on this along this line. Now this part implements the sum. This part implements the sum. This part implements the carry. So therefore, AK bar, that is 0 bit. Here we have the 0. Here is one transistor. Then I have BK bar, that is also 0. That is also 0. Okay? So therefore, you can consider this line. Okay? So this is one transistor. This is another transistor. So for these two bits, sum should be 0. So whenever these two transistors are on, it is connected to a C bar K minus 1 line. C bar K minus 1 line. That is this line. So now this line will be connected to inverter. So this line will go to the inverter 0. CK bar 1 line. So this is connected here, and this line will act as an input to the inverter and generates SQ. Sk out. Now similarly, if we have other combinations like 0 1, 0 1, 0, AK bit is 0 and BK bit is 1, 0 1. So 0 and BK line is 1. Okay. This condition. So when AK is not equal to BK, that part I am checking. When AK is not equal to BK, for example, I am taking AK bar and BK. Okay, then what is the SK? SK should be equal to CK minus 1 whole bar. That we will see. So AK bar here and BK. These two, this path. Okay, that is I am talking about 0 1 combination. 0 1 combination. Now where is this line connected? So this line is connected to, this diffusion path is connected to Ck minus 1. So Ck minus 1 through these two transistors will be connected to this inverter input. So the inverter output will be, so at the inverter input what we have? Ck minus 1. Okay, at the output of the inverter it will be Ck minus 1 whole bar. Okay, so this is verified. So whenever you have the combination like AK not equal to BK, sum will be complementary of the previous carry. Okay, so to verify that, I am choosing AK bar and BK line. It is 0 and 1. It represents 0 bit and 1 bit. Now just proceed along with these two lines, and these two are the transistors which are going to implement that logic. That is 0 1 addition, 0 and 1 addition. So therefore, what the particular condition says, when AK is not equal to BK, okay, what is SK? SK is CK minus 1 bar, complementary. So therefore, these two transistors are working, and these two transistors are working. This line is connected to CK minus 1. Just look at this, CK minus 1. So this CK minus 1 is now selected and it is presented at the input of the inverter. At the output of the inverter, what I get is SK. So therefore, at the output of the inverter, its value will be CK minus 1 whole bar. Okay. So similarly, for all the remaining combinations, you can select the pair of transistors which are going to realize this condition. So according to these conditions only, the multiplexer is going to choose the two transistors as well as the specified lines, that is previous carry lines, in order to perform the addition. So this is about the few points about the design of the ALE cut system. We will continue.